Hi there, welcome to Kneppyinvests. I've had a few questions in regard to what's happening with Codan. Share price has been falling. Can you explain that? But to be honest with you, I haven't really looked at Codan during the past 6 to 7 years. In fact, I don't really follow this company all that closely. And the last time I looked at how Codan was performing and what they were doing was back in 2013 or 14. I think it was 2013. And at that point in time, the share price had fallen from $3.80 to 60 cents. And I just wanted to see if there was any good value at that point in time. And I thought, I'm going to stay clear of this company because I discovered they sell metal detectors. It is their primary source of income. And the majority of metal detectors they do sell are in Africa. And I didn't really think this company had much of a future. And sometimes we make mistakes as investors. And when it comes to Codan, I definitely made a mistake at that point in time because the share price has increased from that 60 cents to a high. I think the share price reached a high of almost $20 about 6 months ago. But the share price has fallen over 50% in the last 6 months. And that's the reason I have gotten some questions in regards to this company. So in this video, what I'm going to do is go through possible or look for possible reasons why the share price has decreased 52% in the past 6 months and whether this is leading to some good value when it comes to this company. So let's get stuck into it. And the first thing I'm going to do in this video is look at some charts. Usually I leave the charts to the end of the video, but in this video, I'm going to start with the charts. First of all, I'm going to just look at how the share price has performed over the past 2 years, just prior to the COVID-19 financial panic to right now. And if we go back to just prior to the COVID-19 financial panic, share price of Codan was about $8, and it did actually fall 50% during the panic to $4. But from the bottom of the COVID-19 financial panic, from that $4, the share price rose to a high of about $19.50 over, we'll call it a 15-month period. That's a significant return if you're holding Codan during that period. And you can see the share price high was significantly higher than the share price high before COVID-19. So it seems like the market was expecting this company to be performing considerably better than it was prior to the COVID-19. I'm not sure why, but that's how the market was viewing this company. But over the past 6 months, the share price has taken a massive hit. It has fallen by over 52%. And right now, it's in a well-defined downtrend. And over that 6-month period, we did see on 3 days where the share price fell by a considerable amount. It seems like those 3 days were the catalyst behind the share price of Codan moving from an uptrend to a downtrend and then maintaining that downtrend. So in the next slide, I'm going to focus on the last 6 months to have a closer look at these 3 big down days. The 3 big down days for Codan were almost exactly 2 months apart from each other. The first one was on the 21st of June, when the share price decreased almost 12% in the one day. And there was also high volume on that day as well. And that could have been the first sign that the share price of Codan was moving from that uptrend into either a consolidation period potentially, or maybe a new downtrend. The next share price drop was on the 19th of August when the share price fell 8.3% in the one day. An even greater volume happened on that day than compared to what happened on the 21st of June. And that's not a good sign. And that seems like that was a catalyst behind the share price of Codan moving or confirming the move into a downtrend. And then on the 27th of October, the share price fell 18.8% on massive volume compared to the previous 2 announcements or days. And that was sort of a confirmation that the share price of this company was in a downtrend. The share price has kept on falling since then, and it seems like it keeps on falling almost day by day. We have the casual update, but the Codan share price is in a well-defined downtrend right now, and it looks like the value could be coming attractive at these prices, potentially. I have a quick look at that during that video, but not a very in-depth look. But I have put Codan onto one of my watch lists. And if I do see a consolidation period forming in the share price, and I do see a new uptrend developing, and if the share price is not too higher from where it is now, that could be a good entry point for this company. I am inquisitive by nature, and I want to understand why the share price fell by these amounts on these specific days. Typically, there will be a reason, announcement from the company, and just by looking at the 19th of August, that falls within reporting season. So more than likely, that was going to be their full year report, and it was. But on the 21st of June, when the share price fell 11.8%, there was actually no announcements from the company. In fact, there was a period of time, almost 3 to 4 week period of time, when the company released no announcements, and that was between 8th June and the 1st of July. So there was no news flow from this company that could explain why the share price dropped 12% in the one day. But on the 19th of August, they did release their full year results, and the market seemingly did not like the full year results, and that's why the share price dropped 8.3%. And then on the 27th of October, when the share price fell 19%, that was the date of the AGM. And usually around the time of the AGM, you do get some new guidance from companies. So I want to explore whether there was a downgrade, and that's what I'll do in the next few slides, exploring some of these announcements and reasons why the share price might have fallen, because on the 21st of June, they did not release any announcements. So all I did was Google, why did Codan share price fall 11.8% on the 21st of June? There were a few hits, and this is from Rask Media. Seems like I'm getting quite a few of my information from Rask Media. Maybe I should pay a little bit more attention to this website. Anyway, they just mentioned here the shares took 11.8% hit despite no news or announcements made by the company. And we've already discovered that. It seems that the short-term movements in Codan share price are somewhat correlated with the underlying gold price. It was also revealed last month that one of Codan's directors, Donald McGurk, had sold $2.4 million worth of shares at the market price of $18.33. Seems like he might have picked the top of the market for Codan. But when that announcement was released about Donald McGurk selling out some of his shares, that was 13 days previous to the 21st of June. So that's not a valid reason why the share price fell 11.8%. The problems with the underlying gold price, that could be a reason, because Codan does sell metal detectors, and if the gold price is falling quite significantly, and this is what happened in 2003, why the share price fell from $3.80 to 60 cents. People in Africa didn't want to buy any metal or gold detectors because the share price or the price of gold had fallen significantly. So there is a correlation between the gold price and Codan. Now, I can't confirm that, but it does seem logical. So maybe that was the reason behind the share price falling 11.8% in one day. I don't think it's a good reason, but it's all we have at this point in time. Now on to the 19th of August, when the share price of Codan fell 8.3%. I went to look at their financials, and then including their revenue numbers, EBITDA, profit, and then the operating cash flow, which we'll look at in the next slide. And everything was up. Looked like it was really good performance from the previous year. For instance, total revenue increased from 348 million to 437 million. EBITDA increased from 118 million to 159 million. Net profit after tax increased from 89 million to 139 million. Everything was increasing. Underlying earnings per share increased from 35.5 cents to 54 cents. We also see here, because they broke down where they get their revenue from, communications actually fell from 104 million to 95, but metal detection grew from 236 million to 326 million. Again, 75% of their revenue was derived from the metal detection. So anything that does affect the metal detection vertical, that could have a significant impact on the share price of Codan. But just looking at these financial numbers, comparing it to financial year 20, there's no reason or indication why the share price had fallen 8.3%. Now, maybe, just maybe, these results did not beat the market expectations. And whenever you see really good results and the share price falls, more than likely, one of the reasons why is the results do not beat the market expectations. They were a disappointment to the market. So that is a potential, and simply because I have no idea what the market expectations were for Codan, that is a valid explanation for why the share price of Codan might have fallen 8.3% on the 19th of August. At this point, I'm starting to get interested in regards to the value of the company. And the first thing I really look for here is the cash flow from operating activities. And the cash flow from operating activities grew by almost 30% from financial year 2020, from 104 million to 131 million. Now, what I do here is I just times that by about 10, and that gives me a rough estimation on a value of this company, and that would be $1.3 billion. And right now, the market cap of Codan at a share price of about $9.40, whatever it is right now, is about 1.7 billion. So just based off this very rough estimate of a good value of Codan, I still have it under where the value of the company, or market cap of the company, is right now. Now, that's a very rough estimate of a fair value for a company, just looking at the cash flow of the company and just multiplying it by an arbitrary factor, which is 10. The reason I do that is 10 seems to be the multiplication factor for cash flow, operating cash flow. When I ever see a number less than 10, I get excited about the potential value there. And whenever I see it above 10, that's when I say there's a little bit of a premium or possible premium to a company's shares. So right now, Codan's price operating cash flow is at 13. So then what I did is just compared that to the historical price operating cash flow we usually see for this company. And historically, the price operating cash flow for Codan falls between 5 and 12. That's over the last 10 years. And on June 30, just after we saw the share price starting to decrease for Codan, the price operating cash flow was 30. That's almost 3 to 5 times higher than the historical range you usually see price to operating cash flow. So that's probably one of the reasons why we have seen the share price of Codan fall. It's just it is a little bit overvalued compared to what you usually see the value for this company. So I was trying to figure out if maybe one of the reasons why the share price had fallen 8.3% was just simply because results did not beat market expectations. And then I discovered that the managing director, Donald McGurk, is going to be retiring within the next 6 to 12 months. And I think this could be the major reason why the share price did fall. Investors and shareholders of a company don't like to see a managing director or a CEO leave his role, particularly if the company has been successful during the person's reign. So this could be definitely a valid reason why the share price fell 8.3% on the release of their full year results. Now to finding out the reason why the share price fell 18.8% on the 27th of October on the day they had the AGM. And this, or trying to figure out why the share price fell this amount on this day, I found was by far the hardest. I could not find anything to justify why the share price fell by this amount. So definitely the market saw something during the AGM that I am not picking up on. So if you do have an explanation, I'll love to hear about it. I went through the chairman's address and CEO's address. And typically when you see the share price fall by a large amount during the AGM, it usually means there could be some guidance released by the company, potentially a downgrade from previous guidance, or some new guidance the company has released and that new guidance disappoints the market. I went through the chairman's address and there was nothing in there. In fact, they were a little bit bullish in regards to some factors about the company. For instance, the chairman stated, "I can confirm that our detailed 3-year plan remains in place and that with the assistance of our high-quality committed executive team, no momentum will be lost as we work through the change of leadership. That seems fairly positive. There was a bit of negativeness in another comment they made, or he made. There are significant headwinds facing many companies in Australia and around the world due to the unpredictable restrictions caused by COVID outbreaks. We are not immune from these. So maybe some investors saw that and that freaked them out and they decided to sell because of that uncertainty. But he also mentioned, or she, our first quarter results are ahead of what was a record year last year, but there is still a long way to go. So at this point in time, they are outperforming their last year results. So everything's going good for Codan right now, but the chairman was expressing some uncertainty in his address, and maybe that uncertainty was one of the reasons why the share price fell 19%. But it seems like maybe if that was a reason, the market definitely overreacted. Now to the CEO's address, and there was one statement in there I'd like to point out. While parts of our business remain difficult to forecast, we have made an excellent start to the financial year. Our existing businesses are tracking in line with last year's record half probability, while DTC and Zetron are transitioning and integrating well into the Codan Group and are tracking in line with plan. The board is pleased to see a much more distributed and balanced business portfolio, and we are confident of delivering a new record first half result. So that was from that Donald McGurk guy, that bit of that address. And he seems to be fairly positive about the future, in particularly around the integration of two acquisitions the company made, the DTC and Zetron. So again, nothing in the CEO's address that I did find that could justify why the share price fell 19%. So I am confused why the market decided to really sell off Codan on the 27th of October. As I go through the announcements from Codan over the last 6 months, I see no logical explanation why the share price has fallen 52%, but there must be a reason. The market must be seeing something that I and other investors are missing. So let's look at some of my thoughts in regards to the share price of Codan right now. And one of the things we can't overlook is just negative sentiment. If the share price is in a well-defined downtrend, that simple fact alone can drive the share price further down. So that is probably a contributing factor right now. Sense of overvaluation of a company when the share price reached $19.50. I think at that point in time, or that price, definitely Codan was overvalued. But as the share price has halved, it is starting to look more and more attractive. And if the share price keeps on falling, there will be value investors who see opportunity, and that could help stabilize the share price, and that could stop the downtrend. The CEO resigning, or the managing director, that is always a problem for a company, particularly if it is a successful and well-liked leader of a company, because it increases the risk. Investors don't know who the new leader of the company will be. It could be a complete disaster. And a lot of times you will see a sell-off when a well-liked and successful CEO or managing director resigns. So that could be one of the reasons for the share price decreasing for Codan. Higher perceived risk in regards to CEO, also because of what's happening in the market, gold prices. People could be concerned the very fact that they sell most of their metal detectors in Africa. So just higher perceived risk could force the share price down of Codan. That's a definite possibility here. And just a reliance on gold. So there probably is a bit of a correlation between Codan and the gold prices. And I have seen a few of the gold miners' share price in a downtrend. So maybe the Codan share price is mirroring what's happening with the gold prices. I can't confirm that, but that is definitely a possibility. So these are just the possibilities. These are definitely not the reasons why the share price of Codan has been falling. If you do have a different reason than what I've given you here, I'd love to hear your thoughts, because you could be absolutely right. And I'd love to read any of your thoughts, because that's how I learn. That's how we all learn, is by sharing our ideas. So definitely, if you do have an idea of why the Codan share price is down, I'd love to hear it. So write it in the comment section of this video. Oh, and the last thing I should mention is I am not a financial planner. or advisor. And if you do need financial advice from someone or qualified person, make sure you seek out someone who is qualified. Oh, and I forgot, I am not a financial advisor. If you do need financial advice, make sure you seek out someone who is qualified and can speak to your own financial needs. That's it for this video. Have a great day. Talk to you later. Bye.